And a reminder to Jeremy, he knows to start, and we're going to get going. So you ready, Jeremy? Here we go. 2, 1, and can we get a big hey from everyone?
Hey.
Hey. I look forward to that each time.
Hey. All right.
We are the, I got to move something on my slide. There we go. We are the SDEBA Power Lunch Networking event where we all have a chance to get to know each other a little bit better, each other's business, and learn from whoever our guest is that week. I am your host, Milo Shapiro, the author of Public Speaking, Get A's, Not Z's. And we are the San Diego Equality Business Association, which is the Chamber of Commerce for San Diego's LGBT plus community and its allies. We love having people join us, no matter what their background, as long as they want to be here. We want to wish everyone, as it's March, a happy St. Patrick's Day, whether you're full of the gold or if you're just getting goldfish at the moment. We still want everybody to be having a good month as much as possible. We're glad to have you here. So this was what was been going through for the last month. I don't know, I don't know if anyone realizes it's this week. It was the 13th that we all started to getting that word, phrases like flattening the curve. Remember that a whole year ago, flattening the curve, and oh, just 2 weeks. If we just stay put for 2 weeks, well, it's a year now. So hope everyone is doing well as we see the end in sight finally a little bit. At this point, I would ask you that everybody do mute yourselves. If that's Windows, the best way is Alt-A. If you're on Mac, memorizing Shift-Command-A or toggles, making that go on and off, or you can just use a little icon on your screen. If you haven't yet, please turn the chat on because someone might want to write to you at some point because of something you say and get in touch. It could be hidden under the More button if you're on a small screen. We also ask that you turn on the participants window. That's useful later, and I'll explain why to know who's speaking when and what the order is. Again, could be under the More button. We're going to be recording this. We're going to be posting it out onto YouTube and take that YouTube and put it onto our Facebook page after a while. So just be aware of that. It's going to be out there for people to see. I don't expect anyone's going to say anything they're afraid to have heard, so now you know. Today's sponsored by freshenyourphoto.com, making pictures the way you want them to be. If Mother's Day and Father's Day are coming up and mom and dad do not want another Groupon for bungee jumping, what they want is to take old photos of themselves and look great again. So please be willing to do that with freshenyourphoto.com. Don't tolerate your photos. Freshen your photos. If you'd like to be considered to be one of the sponsors for an upcoming Power Lunch, please send us a note, info@sdeba.org. Today helping out, we have Jeremy Wilson. Garrison actually couldn't make it, but Dorian is here and Brenda is here. So thank you for my team for helping me out today. We always want to thank our board too, who are doing a million things behind the scenes to keep the organization running. We all appreciate how much and how hard you all work. What does SDEBA stand for? I asked Charlene if she would be our reader for today. Charlene, would you unmute yourself for a moment and read our mission statement?
I will. Thank you. Hello, everybody. The San Diego Equality Business Association promotes LGBTQ influence through business ownership, workforce equality, and active consumerism, creating prosperity for equality, diversity, and inclusion.
Beautiful. Like she had all week to rehearse it, but I only asked her an hour ago. Good job. Being a member has all kinds of features. I'm just going to touch on a couple of them. You get listed on our website. So when people are looking for people in the community to give business to support one another, they can find you by searching on what they're looking for, and your keywords will help bring you up. We also have the app that allows you to connect with other members, see what events are coming up, send leads to one another. It's really a wonderful feature of membership, amongst others. Some of the other ones include education sessions, social events, the job board, advertising and posting opportunities, free membership in a BNG that Jeremy will tell you about a little bit later, what a business networking group is, and the right to use the SDEBA logo on your materials. And beyond all of that, of course, in years gone by, we were all about the mixers. Remember our great mixer? Well, they never looked quite like that, but they were a little bit more like this. Great opportunities to meet each other, find out more about each other's businesses one-on-one. Well, nowadays, it isn't going to happen. We're not quite yet in those live spaces we used to be in. So our networking looks a little bit more like this, but that doesn't mean it can't be great and very beneficial. I've gotten a lot out of my online Zoom meetings with people, and hopefully you're finding that as well. So what is today about? It's about giving you a chance to offer what you do to a larger section of the SDEBA community as they tune into the Power Lunch. It gives you a chance to learn about what others offer in the community so we can continue to give each other support, a chance to provide education in various areas to our members, and to help grow the SDEBA family as new people discover us. What this isn't is exclusive by industry. We could have 2 realtors on or 2 insurance agents. And for this particular meeting, that's totally fine. People will gel with the people they choose to or look at different options as they meet people in the group. It's not a venue to intimately learn about each other's businesses because we're only going to get 30 seconds to tell what we each do, but it's a chance to intrigue somebody so they want to know more about you. It's not a replacement for the BNG groups, the groups that we have where everybody comes together on a regular basis, where there is only one per different industry, and you really get to be able to recommend each other. It's not a replacement for that. This is just different and both good. And it's not a commitment if you have something big that comes up. Last month, Dorian had a big client thing come up and we said, go do it. Absolutely, be there. But whenever you can be here, we hope you'll be here on that second Wednesday of the month for this hour. And finally, it's not a place to sell to us. Once in a while, someone on the call wants your services, great, but they're more useful to you as an advocate, remembering you, remembering your business, and having their entire network of people in the back of their minds when someone wants or needs something you do. Who do we welcome to the Power Lunch as we're looking through that little window? Well, we always want our SDEBA members on the other side coming on in, but also we want guests who want to be here too. In fact, we've extended it through June of 21. Anyone who wants to be here, member or not, is welcome. The meeting format for today, I will continue this opening and then we'll go to our member introductions. I needed to update that slide. Sorry, our guest interview last month was Mary Fainbrand. This month it's Stever Robbins, who I do mention later. We'll talk about upcoming events. We'll have testimonials where people can talk about people in the group they've had great success with. You'll give you a chance to say, connect with me if there's someone on here that you thought, I need to talk to her just a little bit more, and then we'll have our official closing. At the end also, when the meeting is over, if there's someone you'd really like to talk to more, we can put you in a breakout room and you can chat even longer. All right, how do you know when it's your turn? Always good to know. Well, that's what that participants window is. It's at the very top. It's going to have the people who are either unmuted or are on my team, but beyond that, we'll be moving alphabetically through the group. So if you take a look in the participants window, you should know who's before you to feel ready for your turn. When you hear your name, and not please before, but when you hear your name, unmute. And the reason I say not before is if you unmute when you know it's going to be your turn, you shoot to the top of the list, and then I end up skipping you, and I don't notice until the end. If I do skip someone, we'll catch you at the very end, but please unmute when you hear me say your name. Share your business. You can do it orally, or you can screen share if you're comfortable with that. You can get that done in your 30 seconds. That's great. If you're not used to doing the share screen, this probably isn't the time to practice because you only do get your 30 seconds. Afterwards, please remute and unshare your screen if need be. And here's what's important. After you're done with your share, please, over in that chat session, put your big five, your name, your website, your phone number, your email, and your LinkedIn, so that people who wanted to know more about you know how to find you. Keeping us on time today, we have Brenda. Brenda is going to be telling us a little bit about the timer cues. So Brenda, if you'd unmute and tell us how that works.
Thanks. Thanks, Milo. So we're going to do member introduction, 30 seconds. And here, you're going to want to make sure that you can see me in your screen somewhere. At 20 seconds, I'm going to hold up this yellow card. And this is just your visual cue that you should start to wrap up your introduction. At 25 seconds, I'm going to hold up this red card, and this is your visual cue that you should be finishing up your last sentence. And then at 30 seconds, I'll say thank you, and that's your audio cue that you're done. We just want to make sure that we're honoring everyone's time and that we really hone in on our 30-second introductions, never giving anybody the impression that what we have to say is more important than the rest of the group.
Terrific. And so if you hear that little thank you from her at 30 seconds, thank you is just a very polite way of saying, it's time to be done. So she'll give you that moment. It's the hook, right? But it's the very polite hook. Brenda doesn't know how to not be polite. I know her better. All right, moving on. Intro strategies. Jump in with something that's interesting about yourself. I recommend that you end with your name and company instead of starting with it, because people don't know who you are. It won't stay in their minds. But by the time they go, I should know more about that, that's when you tell them who you are and what your company is. Think in terms of what would help people understand what you do and refer people to you, because that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And if you do come every month, see if you can vary what you say at least a little bit to keep it interesting for people coming. My challenge to you, find at least 2 people whose pitches make you think either I wouldn't mind hearing more about that, or that's someone I could have business symmetry with, and reach out to that person either here or afterwards. And off we go. So we're going to start with the top of our attendees list. I need to get my list up where I can see it too. Where is the participants window? There it goes. Everything is a floating window for me. And Jeremy, I'm going to save you for toward the end so that you can also talk about the BNGs. So that makes the first person on our list, Antoine, and I don't know how to say your last name. I'm going to leave it to you. So Antoine, unmute and be our first to share.
Great. Really glad to go first because that's my first time here and you went really fast to the cues. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I'm Antoine. I'm a photographer. I shoot weddings and families and portraits and things like this in my wonderful studio that you can't see behind me. But low Q on what I should say. Yeah,
How'd you find it? How'd you find us, Antoine?
Sorry, I'm already on red apparently. So
okay, we'll learn more about you in the future. Good for you for jumping in and being our first person.
Oh,
Brenda,
man.
let's have you go and show us what you're up to.
Awesome. So my name, I'm gonna violate what Milo just said. So my passion is health and wellness. At my sickest, I was on 24 prescription medications. I was 20 hours a day in bed and I wasn't living, I was just existing. And so because of that, I pivoted and went from being a global human resources leader to now being a person that teaches people how to take control of their health and wellness using plant-based wellness. So my question for you today is, who do you know that wants to boost their immune system? We've got a new product rolling out that I'd love to share with them. Thank you, Brenda Geary.
Terrific. Up next, we have Barbara Eldridge.
Well, if you've been tied down to being at home for the pandemic, what I offer is an organization for people to be able to share the challenges, the ideas, and the resources that they need to be able to move their businesses forward. Mind Masters has been around for a while. We have 5 groups that meet weekly. So we invite people to visit our groups and invite you to send us some small business owners who could use some of that support. Barbara Eldridge.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Up next, we have CJ.
Hello, everyone. I'm CJ Gilbert. I've been a website developer for over 20 years, and I'm also a speaker and author. My special request is, would you join my Facebook group? It's called Ask a Web Geek, and I go live every Wednesday. This morning, I talked about 2 events that I'm producing this week, and let me share with you where you can get more information on that. It's on my blog. These 2 events are called Speak Up, Get Clients. That's tomorrow all day, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, an event called Pride with Ken Krell, and this is an amazing event. Check out my Facebook group to learn more. CJ Gilbert, Ask a Web Geek, and Gilbert Studios. We understand the internet is a jungle.
Grr. Doesn't feel right not to do that after you. CJ's site is so full of information. AskAWebGeek.com, especially if you want to learn about LinkedIn. Our next person to speak is Kara. There you go.
Hola, soy Carita. Yo vendo aseguranza de casa, comercial, a barco y también carros. Me hablas, por favor, para cotización. Kara, Canyon Pacific Insurance, 760-643-4100.
I'm proud that I understood about it. I understood more than half of that. That was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Very well, Kara.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Evan Hughes.
Hi, my name is Evan Hughes. I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm an IT project manager and product manager. I really enjoy working with people, solving complex IT issues. I bring over 20 years of my experience and leadership to taking projects from proof of concept to final launch to improve the productivity and safety of IT infrastructures.
Powerful stuff. Thanks. Up next, we have Charlene.
Good morning, everybody. I love the energy. Charlene Vick. I'm the Community Relations Manager for Windward Life Care. Windward Life Care offers professional care management, non-medical in-home care, and private duty nursing services. And I'm very proud to be here because my company is very passionate about diversity and inclusion, and it's an underserved population and older adults, and we're proud to be in this space, and it's great to meet everybody. Love everyone's energy.
Thanks, Charlene. I just saw Antoine posted all his stuff. Please, people, do share your information over in the chat. Sometimes it's easy to forget once you're done with the, phew, I'm done my turn. Up next, we have D'Angelo.
Hey there, my name is D'Angelo Bonilla. I've found myself now during this pandemic creating a lot of online content and audio content lately. So I actually work for Balada Entertainment. We're an entertainment firm here in San Diego, do a corporate entertainment. We do hybrid events. Right now, we're doing virtual events, do everything from script writing to brand strategies and things like that. So, but we've been doing a lot of podcast directing and online content. So if you guys look for Balladify, thanks so much.
Thanks. Balada has a great reputation in town for providing entertainment, so a great place, I'm sure, to work. My name skipped around a little bit. I'm sorry, I jumped into the E's. Some of you D's might have been surprised, but now things are back to normal. So David Altschuler is next.
Educational consultants help children, students, young people, young adults, find colleges or rehab, as the case may be, work with high achieving, motivated kids, also young people who have lost their way on the path. Honored to be an ally, honored to be a friend of Milo. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
David Altschuler, I'll put some stuff in the Zoom chat.
Thank you. David has a fascinating newsletter about relating to your teenagers. I read it every week. Really interesting stuff. Dorian Brewer from State Farm, you're next.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Dorian here. Do y'all remember the commercial from the 90s, Ron Popeil product, Set It and Forget It? Well, you shouldn't do that with your insurance. Your insurance is meant to grow and change with you as you get married, divorced. Unfortunately, people pass, which has happened a lot this year. You should definitely, hopefully, consider me to talk to your friends, family, even yourself. It's a good idea just to review everything, make sure you're good and you're properly covered. Dorian Brewer, State Farm Insurance here in sunny San Diego. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Dorian. Up next, Janet Williams. Janet, if you're talking, you're muted.
Yes, hi.
Okay.
I'm Janet F. Williams. I'm an author, editor, speaker, and writing coach. I help with both business and personal communications. I offer full service editorial work on fiction and nonfiction manuscripts, including development and critique. I have one-on-one writing coaching sessions available. My company is Good Day Media, and I'll put something in the chat for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving into the M's, Margot, would you please unmute and share what you do? You're still muted, Margot.
Sorry about that. I work with managers who manage other managers. I help them build their focus, their influence, their trust. I help them find the purpose and fulfillment and joy that they're yearning for in their work, and I help them create and live an extraordinary life. Margot Garcia, Great Leader Coaching.
Terrific. Next, dropping down alphabetically down into the S's, Steve Chrissy.
Oh, are you looking for someone to help you along the home loan financial freeway? Then I'm your guide. With over 10 years of lending experience, I can help you figure out the best way to purchase that home or condo. Or if you need to see if refinancing makes sense, then give me a shout out with Steve Chrissy, MDC Financial, full service mortgage bank at 619-248-4434. Look for me in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Steve's in my BNG, and boy, does he know loans. I've learned so much from him. Next up, we have Stever, our speaker today. Stever. There you go.
My keyboard shortcut wasn't working. My name is Stever Robbins. I am founder of Stever Robbins Incorporated, an executive coaching firm. That's actually not what I do as my day job anymore, but for purposes of this, I've been a top iTunes podcaster for 13 years on personal productivity, and I run Get It Done groups, getitdonegroups.com, which are accountability groups for self-employed people. And you can find me at getitdonegroups.com.
Thanks, Stever. Talk to you again real soon. Heading up next is Todd Kazin.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd with Consolidated Concepts. If you are looking to get something printed, we are your total print resource. So right now, a lot of people need to get their message out, and one way to do that is through the old-fashioned business cards or even greeting cards. A lot of people did some Valentine cards back in February. So if you need to get a message out, we are your source to get it done.
Thank you. And wrapping up the alphabetical list, we have Vicky.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vicky Pasha, mom of 3-year-old twins, Wild Ride. I'm also the co-founder of Dapper Boy, which is a gender-neutral clothing line made for a wide variety of body types and sizes. We've been growing very quickly in the last 5 years of bootstrapping the company, and now we're looking to fundraise new to the process. So any insight there is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, 2 3-year-olds at home. Amazing. Good for you. Wrapping up our list, actually, we're going to cut right back to the top, and I'm going to turn things over to our president for just a couple of minutes, Jeremy Wilson, who gets to talk about himself too, but also to share anything he'd like to about the business networking groups and stuff going on in the organization. Jeremy?
Thank you, Milo. And Brenda, I get a little bit more time.
Yes, he does. When you run an organization, you just do.
So Well, first of all, welcome to all of our guests. We're so glad that you're here at our Power Lunch Networking events. We hold these on the second Wednesday of every month from noon to 1. So I do see some new faces, and this is a great organization to join. We are the second oldest LGBTQ and allied chamber of commerce in the country. We were founded in May of 1979. We were founded in the closet, literally. This organization was an answering machine in someone's closet that put out a printed, typewritten directory. So we've grown throughout the years, and we're happy to still be relevant. We're happy to still be here. A couple things. We do have a couple seats, and this is the first announcement. You guys are first to hear it. 2 board seats that are opening up, and we're going to open that window on March 15th. That window will be open for 3 weeks. It'll be on our website. It'll be emailed to our distribution list. So if you're interested, typically we were looking for people that have been members for 6 months or longer. It's not set in stone. There are a lot of things that go into being a board member, but one of the most important components is learning how the organization works, experience, and also leadership that folks can gain from becoming a board member. The term is 2 years, and so excited about that. And also our BNGs. So our business networking groups are kind of like this. They meet more frequently, either weekly or bi-weekly, and certain categories cannot be overlapped. So if there's an insurance agent and a banker and a real estate agent, those are protected categories. And the point of a BNG, business networking group, is to share tips back and forth. We would love for all of you guys to join our association. And you can sign up easily at sdeba.org. It's only $33 a month. It is tax deductible. You can also pay in advance for a year if you'd like as well. So again, welcome. So glad that you're all here. And I look forward to hearing Stever's presentation and getting to know all of you.
Thanks. Anything you want to say on yourself? Because you kind of went right into the organization. Or you good?
Oh, so yes, I got so I was like happily working, at my boring office job downtown, where it's been a ghost town since COVID. And I technically is still employed with Banner Bank, but they did give me a nice little package and showed me the door and escorted me out. So I'll be one of those folks probably getting unemployment, still devoting time to this organization, maybe some more time. So that's exciting, and looking forward to a little bit of a break. So thanks,
well, we appreciate all you're doing for SDEBA while going through such personal changes as well. So thank you for that. Heading back into the sharing screen for my turn for my 30 seconds or so. I am Milo Shapiro, public speaking coach. And a lot of times people ask me, who are your clients? Who uses you, Milo? So just to give you an idea, I've worked with CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, salespeople, ministers, engineers, a prostitute, scientists, students, pageant queens, and lots of others. And yes, I am not making up the prostitute. Anyone who wants to learn to be a better speaker, I'm not turning them away, because anyone can benefit from learning how to do better sales pitches, how to give better speeches, explaining your advantage more effectively, creating better business videos, and doing 30-second intros. So check me out at miloshapiro.com to become more prepared, polished, and powerful. Our next month, this got ahead of myself, but there's a little preview of what's coming. So now let me get that back off the screen and stop sharing, because we're about to move into this month's speaker, not bypassing him for our April one at all. So our guest today is Stever Robbins. And if I were to read Stever's resume and awards, there'd literally be no time left to do an interview. So just a fraction of his accomplishments. He's a computer science graduate from MIT, an MBA grad from Harvard Business School, for whom he still writes and publishes. His top 10 podcast in the I-10 business category continues. He was a project manager for Intuit, where he co-led the development of the award-winning Quicken Visa card. He's been interviewed by the likes of little groups like Wall Street Journal, NBC Nightly News, New York Times, ABC News Now, MSNBC, and now more significantly, the Power Lunch. He's the author of It Takes More Than Attitude to Build a Stellar Organization and Get It Done, Guys, 6 Steps to Do Less Work. He's even a certified master trainer elite in neurolinguistics
Nine
programming. 9 steps. Did I say, what did I say? 7 steps?
You're a gay man. I understand 6 and 9 look pretty much like the same number. They actually aren't. 9 steps.
I don't know why I said 6. And he comes to us today in his role as a productivity expert. So he's going to make me more productive by teaching me to read correctly. And he's the kind of guy that basically makes my parents think I should have accomplished more. So thanks for nothing, Stever. But welcome to the show anyway, so we can talk to you about productivity and project time constraints. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's really very clear that you know that I've been talking to your parents, and it looks like our plot has worked. So just remember in your old age who it was that had faith in you when no one else did. That was your parents. So
no, it was you, my
them.
parents less so. But I'll take what I can get. So well, time management to me, I mean, I think back to the Superman movie where he flew around the earth and turned time backwards. That's good time management skills, but most of us don't have that. So what do you mean when you say time management, and why do we need it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as managing time. Superman managed time. Most of us can't do that. Most of us have to manage our attention instead. And when people say, oh, time management, one day I was at a conference and I met Ted Turner, the Ted Turner, the founder of CNN. And we were standing here having this conversation in the hall, and right, I mean, I'm as cool as a cucumber. On the inside, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm talking to Ted Turner, But on the outside, I'm like, so Ted, what's up? A pleasure to meet you. And, Ted is sitting here like, well, I'm working on some projects right now. Now I know that inside he was thinking, oh my God, I'm talking to Stever Robbins. Oh my God, I'm talking to Stever Robbins. But he was kind enough not to embarrass me in public by showing that. And it occurred to me as he walked off in one direction and I walked off in another, and he was going off to a meeting with President Clinton, and I was going off to have lunch with somebody who could get me discount French fries at the cafe. And I thought, the interesting thing about what makes him and me different is we just started from the exact same place. Here we were having a conversation. How come we're now going, so we're starting literally from the same place. We're starting from the same time. We are starting from the same physical location. Why is he going to walk off and be Ted Turner and I'm going to walk off and be Stever Robbins, right? Like, why can't I just walk into the room that he's going to walk into and suddenly be Ted Turner and worry about nuclear proliferation and talk to Bill Clinton about all of these things? And, in some sense, it comes down to time management. Time management is nothing except what you choose to do with your time, because Ted and I started from exactly the same place, and we made different choices from that moment going forward. He chose to walk into the room with Bill Clinton. I chose to walk into the discount French fries. By the way, they were good French fries. So it's not clear that I made the wrong choice. But what that means is we had the same amount of time in the day. We were starting from the same place. What made the difference in what we accomplished was the choices that we made and how to spend that time. And it really hit home. These super high achiever people, they don't have 1 minute more in their day than you do in yours. The question is how they decide to use that. So what time management is, first of all, it's not time management, it's self-management. It's attention management, it's choice management. And it's basically prioritization. How are you going to spend your time? And if there is more to do than you have hours to do, how are you going to handle that? And there's only a couple ways you can handle it. You can decide not to do the extra stuff. You can decide to delegate that extra stuff to another person. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Or you can choose to delegate that stuff to a system. You can automate it. And delegation to other people and to systems is how Ted Turner has been able to become Ted Turner, because he said, wow, I want to run a cable network. Unfortunately, I only have 24 hours in a day. So I'm going to hire someone who knows how to put up or how to dig, I don't know anything about cable, how to dig holes in the ground and lay a cable, right? He was essentially delegating that work. But because of the structure of our economy, and we can discuss whether or not capitalism is broken and whether or not it handles wealth allocation correctly or not, it certainly handles wealth creation pretty darn well. And one of the things that makes capitalism work is the ability for us to get multiple people together and form large organizations. And the reason that large organizations can get stuff done is precisely because when there's more work than one person can do, it gets divided up and delegated to the people who can do each piece of it best. And I hate to use machine metaphors because I think that in our culture, we spend way too much time discussing people as if they were either machines or money. So please don't use the phrase human capital in my presence, because if you have to dignify human beings by pretending they're a form of commerce, as opposed to the other way around, dignifying commerce by saying it helps human beings lead better lives, then we're going to have a long philosophical discussion. But for your purposes, time management is about your decisions about how to use your time, where you put your priorities, what you delegate to other people, what you drop, and which things you delegate to systems.
So
I hope
I'm assuming there's a lot. What's that?
I should warn you in advance. I have 750,000 words that I have written on this topic, a book, and about 14 presentations. So I am consciously stopping at some point so that Milo can direct me in a useful direction, because I could literally talk for 6 or 7 hours about this topic, and I want to go in a direction that is most useful for you. So
We haven't spoken in 10 years, so I had forgotten that. So it's good to know. So what are some of the more common time management challenges that people have? Because clearly Ted made the right choices, and you're saying not everybody does. You're not saying you didn't, but what gets in the way of people making the right choices?
I had the French fries, dude. So one is not making a time management plan, because most people simply put their attention on whatever is demanding their attention at the time. And unfortunately, you know, and it looks like there's at least 1 or 2 people here who are as old as I am. You may remember once upon a time, products and services were made to help us accomplish things. Like the reason that people made products was because they wanted their product to do something good for other people. And then about 15 years ago, the entire high-tech industry discovered that they could make a lot more money individually by hijacking our attention and doing what's called, you know, I don't know, some people call it brain hacking or whatever, but there are literally courses at Stanford Business School about how to do this to people. They have kind of perfected the ability to manipulate us, interrupt us, and get us to, they call it engage with their product. The problem is I don't know about you, I didn't get up thinking, wow, I want to engage with my billing software. In fact, I don't want to engage with my billing software. I want to spend 3.5 seconds a month on my billing software and have it handle all of my billing. That's why I use it. I don't use it because I want a friend. If I want a friend, I will bill somebody for money. I will take the money. I will call up somebody who's a human being and say, I have money now because my billing software allowed me to collect it. Let's go get lunch. In Hillcrest, because by the way, I was living in Hillcrest in 1979 when this group started. However, I was very young, so I didn't know and I couldn't join the group.
I didn't even know you had ever lived at it. So are you saying though that if we're taking time out of our day to interact and do that thing that they're trying to get us to do, we're cutting into our own time management?
Yes. What I'm saying is that, so your time management is a choice that you make. And unfortunately, the entire tech industry is trying to hijack that choice from. They're trying to force you to spend time with their devices, answering their notifications, responding to their gamification, etc. So when you ask what is the common time management challenge, one of them is mistaking the urgent for the important. And you literally have systems that are engineered to make everything urgent, as opposed to help you only make the important things urgent and get rid of everything else. So that's one of the reasons that it's really necessary to actually sit down and make a deliberate choice about how you want to spend your day, right? The ideal, and I'm going to say this is the ideal because I've been talking, writing, and doing this stuff for 20 years. I still can't do this on a regular basis, but it's the ideal. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Spend 5 minutes every morning and just look over your to-do list. Don't look over it in super detail, like scan it with a very kind of casual mind so you get both unconscious and conscious engagement. And just notice which things jump out that you really have to get done today, and set 3 and only 3 priorities for the day. And then keep that piece of paper, and I literally have to keep it in front of me. Okay, I have a piece of paper on a spiral notebook. If it is not in my sight, I will get distracted. This happens all the time. But find a way to force yourself to keep returning to your top 3 priorities, and then filter everything you do that day through those top priorities.
I like that idea of writing it down, because I can even think it first thing in the morning, but by the midday when 4 more emails have come in and the phone has come up and I've been tempted into something, you know, it's just so easy. But if I look down and say, that isn't on my top 3 for today, why am I doing this? Perhaps I don't need to fill out a survey on the GoDaddy operator I just spoke to, just because they want me to engage.
I mean, I'll also give you the standard thing, right? Which is only check your email twice a day, turn off notifications on all of your devices, shut down social media. I'm telling you this, you know this, none of us do that. We keep our email open, we keep our social media open. So let's not pretend that we don't, because, right, if you could actually do that, yes, you would be able to focus more, but none of us can do that because these things have been written to hijack our mind. However, if you keep something in front of you so that every time, you know, you're in the middle of typing the email and you notice, wait a minute, I have this little thing taped to my monitor that says, you know, that says billing, call to prospects, and, you know, write a page in your book. Oh, okay, I got to do those. Another time management challenge is not sticking to your plan once you have set it. One of the things that I do, and I can talk about this a little bit at the end. So I've been coaching people for 20 years, and I used to do all this deep psychological work with people to find out why they were resisting doing the thing. And one day I was talking to a business owner, and we were 3 weeks into, he was supposed to call one of his employees and have a difficult conversation. It wasn't like a hire fire, but it was like, you know, oh, you did a bad job. 3 weeks after he had said he would do this, he hadn't done it. And I was like, we get on the phone. I'm like, so how did the conversation with Chris go? And he's like, oh, I didn't do it. I was too busy. I'm like, you weren't too busy. You were resisting. So I said, in a sudden moment of brainstorming, I said, I happen to know you have an hour blocked off on your calendar right now. Go do this. And then meet me back here in 20 minutes and tell me how it went. And he went, ah! And I went, that's right. You weren't too busy. You were scared. Make the call. Jumped off the call. 20 minutes later, he had done it. Why did that work? It worked because if you have people who are waiting for you to do the thing you said you would do, human brains are hardwired for us to be social creatures and keep our commitments to each other. So I abandoned all of the 45 different coaching methodologies that I used, and the stuff from Coach University and my Harvard Business School stuff and my leadership this and my NLP that. And to me, the big way, how do you stick to your plan? How do you deal with getting back on track? Every single day, I used to do this twice a week, and during COVID, every single day, I have a group and we check in at 5 minutes before the hour, every hour. And we
every hour?
Here's what I'm going to do every hour. So eight check-ins a day. I mean, we have people in different time zones, so there's only like 5 hours that we actually all overlap. You know, and not everyone comes to every check-in, but basically, if I say to you, you know, hey, Barbara, I am going, by our next check-in, I'm going to write this difficult letter to the person. And we check in an hour later and you say, did you write it? And I say, no. And that happens 3 times. And at the end of the 3rd time, you say, okay, Stever, you said 3 times you would do this. You know, how about you leave your camera on and we'll leave our Zoom open and we'll just watch you do it while you do it.
That's serious.
And I go, yeah, but the thing is, it just works. Like, you know, people want some deep system. You don't need a deep system. You know, you don't need to stress about trying 4,000 apps. Just, you know, say to someone, you know what, Antoine, and I literally will do this. I'll say, you know, there's this report that I have to write. I have been putting it off. If I have not written 100 words on it by our next check-in, I will pay you $50. And I have to screen share to prove it. And you know what? One time, I ended up paying $500. And since that one time, I have never used that technique and not had it work. Because
you never used it again, period, because you didn't want to have to write the check.
No. That really, my brain went, oh, he's serious. And I was like, yes, I am. So, you know, in terms of the common time management challenges, it's, you know, not sticking to your plan, not having a plan in the first place. And I found the easiest way to get over that is just to find an accountability buddy. And that, you know, that works. Or find a group of, you know, I've got this group of accountability buddies. There's 2 other things. One is not providing for interruptions. Is people schedule their day under the assumption that they're going to have all of the time in their day available. That's silly. You know you're going to have interruptions. You always have interruptions. So declare an interruption hour for yourself. My interruption hour is going to be, or a half hour or 2 half hours or something, but just set aside some block of time, and that's when interruptions are allowed to happen. So interruptions happen between 3:30 and 4:30. If somebody calls me up and says, oh my gosh, I have an emergency, I say, is it life or death, or can it wait till 3:30? And if they say it's life or death, I say, okay, I'll take what I'm doing now and move it to the 3:30 time block. If it's not life or death, I say, great, it'll still be there at 3:30, call me then. 80% of the time, they've solved their own problem by 3:30. The other 20% of the time, it's 3:30, it's my interruption time block, let's deal with stuff.
What if
also
it's a
keep
potential
little
client though? Would you actually put off a potential client calling you till the 3:30, or do you say, I don't want them to go down and start calling 4 other people before I potentially at least half close with this person?
That depends entirely on the circumstances. It depends on what it is they're interrupting. But if it's a potential client, I would be much more likely to say something like, wow, I'd be glad to meet with you for, a complimentary initial meeting. Let's set a date and time right now, and I will send you some questions for you to answer so that we can make the best use of that time. And and what am I doing? It's the same thing. I'm still, but instead of relegating them to the interruption time block, I'm relegating them to some other time block. I don't think that I would ever at this stage in my career just take a prospect call out of the blue unless it were a Ted Turner type level person. I mean, what I've learned is that you need to set an example for people. And, one of the examples that I need to set for prospects is I know how to manage my time. And time and priorities, and having an impromptu conversation is not necessarily going to be as useful as if we have an explicit agenda, an explicit goal for our meeting, and you have done some prep work so that when we meet, we can make really good use of that half hour.
And you're also modeling being at their beck and call, which may not be the best thing.
Yes, I don't like modeling that at all. I will sell that. I will charge somebody extra for the ability to interrupt me at any time. And I've had people pay that, and I've never had anyone use it. People will pay a lot of money for that privilege, and if you then train them correctly, they will never actually use the privilege that they're paying you a lot of money for. So that's useful. Oh, and then the last time management challenge. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I know you're a professional speaker. You want to speak, but I'm also a professional speaker, and
I
I
have to
also
model
want to
speaking.
speak.
Yes. But go ahead.
Yes. My parents used to tell me that when I would grow up, I would be more mature. My parents were really naive. So the last time management challenge is a disconnect between activities and results. So people will spend their time doing, and I'm not talking about distractions. I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm going to go watch CNN. I am talking about things that seem very useful that aren't, right? You're all self-employed here. Let me give you some specific examples. Maintaining your website, getting your business cards redesigned, coming up with a consistent look and feel and branding identity for your one-person business. If you took all of the time you spent doing that and you sat down and you made one prospecting phone call every 30 seconds for that same amount of time, I guarantee you by the time you were done, and I'm talking total cold calling. If people I know who have spent time designing their website, it's spent the exact same amount of time just getting a list of prospects out of the phone book or whatever it is that kids use these days, and just going through and doing a targeted, fast, focused sales outreach, they would have made more money. And when people say, "Can I go to your website?" You say, I'm so busy handling prospects. You're not saying you're closing them. You're just saying you're handling them. I'm so busy handling prospects, I haven't had time. Do you have a problem that I can help you with or not? And if not, let me know when I should check back, and I'll check back. Thank you. Bye. Next phone call. I used to be terrified of the idea of doing this. And a couple of years ago, I had to do some outreach. I was redefining my business and my career, and I'm no longer doing self-employed stuff mainly. I'm now the chief operating officer of a small private equity firm. But I was trying to do this change of career, and I wanted advice from people who knew me and had followed me on social media and stuff. I started with my address book, which, by the time you're over 30, you have several thousand names, or at least I do. And I literally went through and made over 2,000 phone calls. And for the first 20 of those calls, I was like, oh my God, what are people going to think? Are they going to think I'm annoying? Or what if they're offended that I'm calling? By the time I was at call number 100, I was like, okay, I'm just going to get this one over with so I can get on to number 101. If the person doesn't want to hear from me, screw them. It's their missed opportunity. I'm just going to power through. 2,000 phone calls and emails. I mean, 2,000 personalized touches. The emails were templated, so it wasn't typing each one. And, you know, it turned out it just wasn't that terrifying. You just call someone up and you say, you know, hey, Vicky, you know, I have personal accountability services for self-employed people. Is this something you want? Yes or no?
Wow.
You can't see I'm pointing at you. So Vicky, I'm pointing at you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
We can all move the boxes,
you know,
so Vicky
is
is
now
right
a good
there.
time to talk? Is now a good time to talk about it? If so, great, we have time. If not, let's put a call on the calendar.
And you
then
found that it was a good use of time? Because I'm always so afraid I'll end up in long calls with somebody in personal catch up to the point where I'm not really using my time well.
There is a book called High Probability Selling. I believe it was self-published by a man named Jacques Worth, W-E-R-T-H. You can get it on Amazon, I'm sure, for a penny used somewhere. I think it's been out of print for 15 years. I met the man. He was primarily a CEO, and he had developed the sales cold calling system, and he would acquire a company, teach this to his sales force, quadruple sales, and sell the company, and he would go do it again. And that was the main thing he did, was just teach people the sales technique. And the whole thing is predicated on the idea that sales is a numbers game. Out of every 100 people, three people are looking for what you have to offer and are ready to buy right now. Your job is to get through the 97 people as quickly as possible to find the 3 who are ready to buy, and leave your name in the minds of the other 97 people. So when they become one of those 3 people at some point in the future, they pick up the phone and call you. And like I said, paradoxically, it turns out that it's real easy. And weirdly, because this guy has analyzed this method to death, but there's like an actual optimal number of words he has found, and it's really small. It's like 43 words, no more, no less. It ends with the question, is this something you want? If the person says yes, you say great, you know, then you go and you set up a time, whatever. And if they say no, you say thank you. You know, can I call you back in 6 weeks to check in then? And because you only used 20 seconds of their time and you were super focused with your message and you weren't trying to become friends or get them to engage, you were simply making them an offer, they will almost certainly say, sure, call me back in 6 months. And by the time you've done this 6 or 7 times, which will take you a couple years, right? I mean, we're talking, this is a long-term strategy. Now, all of these people have an idea, oh, right, Brenda, that's that person who does the thing. I don't know what you do, so but through repetition, they will have built up a little bit of an idea of who you are and what you do. And if they need that, either they will call you, or the next time you call, they'll go, oh, right, you're the person who's called 6 other times. You know what? It just so happens we do need custom packaging right now. You know, let's talk about what those needs are. Great. So that, you know, and now I just gave that whole spiel, although I hope that's really.
And we've gotten away from time management because I knew it was gonna be hard to keep you on one topic when you do about 6. We've moved on to 6.
You can't keep me on one topic, dude. Yes.
I'm
however,
gonna combine.
The reason I say that. Yes, the reason I say that is that's a case where there is a disconnect between activity and desired results. Is that people think that stuff like designing their stationery is going to increase their business, and maybe yes, maybe no. But making 500 sales calls will almost definitely. And by the way, if it doesn't, if you spent that same time making the 500 sales calls and you don't get a single bite, that's very important information for you. That means you have your messaging wrong, or it means you have a product that no one wants. And either way, if you had spent that same time and money wasted designing a website, you would now have a website for a product that no one wants, or you would have a website with all the wrong messaging. So that is an example of the disconnect between an activity and a desired result, right? It's like the person who wants to spend more time with their family. So the way they do it is by getting into a career so that 20 years from now, they can be financially independent and retire, you know, and until then they have to work weekends and evenings. You know, and you're like, dude, you could actually, this is actually a true story. You know, this person was telling me that I said, he was a radio talk show host. I was appearing on his talk show, and it was on a Saturday. And I said, you know, I'm just curious. You know, I'm here on a Saturday because I like doing radio. Is that why you're here? And he said, no, I have, you know, blah, blah, blah. I have to make all this money so I can spend time with my family. And I looked at him and I said, it's Saturday. You could just go home and spend time with your family right now. And much to my dismay, he was actually like, oh my God, you're right. And he like started to stand up and I was like, sit. I was like, it's too late. You've obligated yourself to my agenda now. You have to do the interview. Once we're done with the interview, then you can go home and spend time with your family. Okay, so I'll stop now, Milo, so you can rein me in.
Right, and so I'm going to do it in two different ways. One is, I'd like to know, at the top of the hour, do you have anything you need to go do? Because I have a feeling there might be some people who have some questions for you, and we need to wrap up the meeting officially and let people go on time. But would you be able to linger for a little Q&A at the top of the hour?
I'm reasonably sure. Let me fire up my calendar app.
You can tell me afterwards. The last question I wanted to ask you on our...
Yes, I can stick around. I can stick around at the top of the hour.
Great. We haven't done that before, but it just occurs to me that that might be a nice thing to do. The last thing I want to ask you, I'm going to combine two of the questions I wanted to ask you because they're similar. You mentioned a pad and a sticky and this. I kind of expected that you were going to talk more about your favorite apps. So do you love time management apps and not write them up, or you do not like them? And what are a couple of the habits that will give people back their time, maybe other than apps?
Sure. I have tried them all. Every time I discover a new time management app, I buy the thing and I try to use it. And at the end of the day, a time management app can facilitate you organizing your own brain. But at least for me, I've not found that they can substitute for it, because the whole premise of an app is that it is streamlining something. Well, if the problem with time management is that we're not engaging enough, we're not stopping and slowing down enough to really engage with how we're using our time, streamlining a process that isn't working for us is not necessarily going to fix the problem. In fact, it's just going to make it easier, faster, and more efficient for us to do the wrong thing. So like what I have found with to-do apps, with task management, right? Paradoxical. And I've tried every frickin' to-do app in every in every app store. I have gone online, and every time someone comes with a bullet journal, this or here's a whole new system for managing your time and your task list, I try them all. And what I have discovered is with the apps in particular, as soon as something scrolls off the bottom of my screen, I stop paying attention to it. And how often, and once, and because it's online, my brain says, oh, it's safely kept here, so I don't ever go and delete it. And then by the time there's 400 undone items on my task list, do I ever go back and look at it? No. I've been using computers since 1976. So I have been using computers longer. I don't care who it is. I've been using computers longer than they have. And I have tried constantly to use every to-do technology that existed back when MS-DOS was the only personal computer. I used the to-do programs on MS-DOS, and then on Windows, and then on the Mac, and on Linux and Unix. No, my mental behavior is the same every time, which is that I assume the computer will do it for me, so I delegate the responsibility of something I wasn't doing anyway onto a machine that also doesn't do it. What the machine does is it tracks stuff that's different from actually getting me to make wise choices about my time.
I can see how that would be. And you might as well be doing it on paper.
That's a really long way of saying the best apps for time. Yeah, the best app for time management is no app. However, one of my favorite productivity techniques, I call this speed dating your tasks. And since we have Game In here, I don't know how lesbians are about musical theater, but I know Game In, right? It's genetic. If you go to worklessanddomore.com and you click on the top link, whoops, I sent that to Milo instead of to everyone.
And that's work less, not workless.
No, worklessanddomore.com, and click on the top link. You will see a 5-minute promo for a musical that I co-wrote.
I watched it. It's very clever.
It is a musical about personal productivity, and you are spared from hearing me sing it. We have 2 professional musical theater actors doing the promo. 3 of the tips from my book are embodied in this promo, and one of them is the technique I'm about to tell you about, told in convenient musical theater format, complete with zombies, which is not something that one normally gets with time management.
Steve, I've got to wrap here, but we're going to have you back for Q&A at the top of the hour because I have some things I do need to do. But yes, I'm a big fan of edutainment and learning about productivity through musical theater. It was the first time that's happened, but it worked for me. So thank you, Stever, for the official interview. And I'm going to need to jump back to a few other things. So going back into screen share mode right now. Our next Power Lunch is on April the 14th, which is, again, the second Wednesday of that month. Janet Williams, who happens to be on our call today, is my guest. She's the author of You Don't Ask, You Don't Get. I want a great bounce off from some of the things that Stever was saying about the numbers game, about how deciding what it is you really want and not getting in the way of asking for it. I loved this book the first time I read it, and I'm rereading it to prepare for the 14th. So be with us when Janet talks to us about that. In fact, she said to me she is going to put down in the link, and she can do it now, a little promo on how you can get the book at a discount in case you'd like to read it before next month, so you're prepared for her presentation. But you don't have to read it in order to be here with us. We're going to give you the chance through here always to connect directly with the people that you've met and listen to give their pitches. So in the chat area, you can write to them. You can request a one-on-one call here. We're going to open up for that in just a moment. And this is that time for call outs. So unmute yourself if there's someone you want to reach out to and make sure they know, hey, I definitely want to talk to you. I'll keep an eye out for who's unmuted themselves. And then you can do your shout out after I call on you and remute. Is there anyone there's somebody on this call they were like, I really want to talk to? Call it out now. Nope. Okay, then we'll move on. That's how it would work. If somebody would just call out like that. Forgot that was there. Testimonials today. If there's somebody on this call that you have worked with and you want to say, hey, this person is amazing. If there's somebody like I just happened to use Barbara today, who was smiling ear to ear, by the way, through that whole thing about accountability, because she's like the queen of accountability stuff. If there's somebody here that you have worked with and you want to do a testimony, we can take about 1 minute to hear some testimonials. Anyone? Just unmute yourself and I'll call on you for a testimonial. Not today? Okay, we are running a little behind anyway. We also sometimes take testimonies about SDEBA, how being in this organization has given a lot of us opportunities to connect with one another, to find avenues that we wouldn't normally. If there's wonderful things you want to say about SDEBA, save it for next month when we're not running a little bit behind. Oops. There we go. Please follow us if you haven't yet. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/the name of the organization. Our LinkedIn address is terrible, so I created this Tiny Earl, which is much easier to remember. Tiny Earl, LinkedIn SDEBA, and that way you can find out what we're posting about things going on for the group. We have an all-new Power Lunch page. We didn't have one dedicated to it. So now if you want to tell people about the Power Lunch, it defines it in general. It gives you links to where you can go to sign up for things. It even gives you past episodes so you can go back and listen to a speaker or share someone you liked in the past. Stever will be in here within an hour or two as well. If you're on our distribution list, great. If you're not getting our stuff, be sure you do add at sdeba.org as a safe sender. Sometimes people tell us, I'm not getting your stuff. And it turns out it's all piling up in their spam folder. Nothing we could have done about that. So make us safe. And guests, you can join too. You don't have to be a member to get our announcements of upcoming events. Go to that gray bar on sdeba.org homepage and sign up for that. Right up there, you can join. If you want to join, if this is making you think, I want to know more about this group and being a member of it, contact Dorian, who is going to paste, I would assume, his email in that chat area, because that's a really hard one to remember, that part. I've got it memorized, but I bet I'm one of the few. So put that into the chat for people and they can write to you to find out more about becoming a member. Be sure to save the chat session, because anyone who said something to you or people you might want to find again, that's the best way to do it. It's those 3 dots in the right corner there of the chat, and then click the save chat. No matter what your system is, it's going to save it to a file called meeting_saved_chat.txt. Where it goes on your computer, you got to find it yourself. But I know that's the name of it to help people find it. Thank you to all the health workers and first responders who are out there making it more and more possible for us to get back to the lives that we can actually envision happening by this summer. And we're all looking forward to that. A final thought for Women's History Month. I could go back and everyone wants to quote Susan B. Anthony, but we don't have to go back that far for our women leaders. And I love this quote from Gloria Steinem. A feminist is anyone who recognizes the equality and full humanity of women and men. So I don't want anybody to turn that word into a negative thing. We should all be feminists because we're all people. Thank you all. If you want to send a note to the organization, info@sdeba.org, or to me directly, milo@miloshapiro.com. And at this time, we're going to wrap up. If someone wants to go into breakout, they can do that once we stop recording. But officially right now, we're going to stop the meeting. So thank you for being with us. And we're going to go into that Q&A. If there's anyone who wants to request going into a breakout room, they can put that in the chat session. But I want to turn things back over to Stever to share some final thoughts